Hello, everybody. DT here, Breakthrough Podcast. This is the 4th episode, and today's focus is it's intriguing. In a sense, I hope it's very inspiring. I know most of us out there are going to a job every day. And in case you didn't know the statistics behind that, there are more deaths related to going to your work than there is to cancer. That's right. People have a heart attack because they can't fathom getting up, going to work again. I think we've all been there at some point in time, whether it be a coworker that you don't like working with, whether it be some situations that you're dealing with. So today I thought I'd dive into what it means to actually have a job versus going to work. So today's episode is going to cover jobs versus works. And when I think about that, here's how to simply help you understand it. A job is the 8 to 5. And the job requires you to work 8 to 5. The job is, let's give you a good kind of metaphor here. The job is the bird in the cage. And see, when you're in the cage as a bird, your freedom is at stake. There's nowhere you can go that's wider or that's taller than the cage. Now think about that for a second. That bird who can absolutely fly, that bird who loves to just touch the sky if he could, he's locked up in a cage. And that is most of us. 8 to 5 every day. Our heads are spinning. Our hearts are angry. We're sad sometimes. And some of us, it might be different. But don't worry, for those some of you who it may be different for and you actually do love what you do, I'm still going to create another mindset behind that even after it's all said and done. At the end of the day, it's about protecting yourself. Being able to make it through the tough times, being able to make it just in case something is different for you today than it was yesterday, 2 years ago, than it was today. And how do you get through that? And when we work a job, gosh, people hate it. I'm investigating all the time, just work. You see people, you say hi to people who have high inspiring jobs. You say hi to just normal people. And those people, you'll know them eventually when they have a job. Because those people are like, you're like, hey, how you doing today, man? Good to see you. They're like, yeah. And that's their response. That's when you know you're dealing with people who just have a job. They don't call it work. It's not their craft. It's not what excites them. They just have a job. And what that job does is it pays for them to cautiously get by, but they don't show an ounce of love. And it doesn't matter if you're a high energy person or if you're a good person or a bad person, or, if you had a bad day or you didn't have a bad day, your job is your job, which means is that at any given moment, somebody else is in control of deciding whether you are there or not. And that's the job. The 8 to 5, you're not in control. You do as you say, even though we might give you some leverage and allow you to believe is that your thoughts matter. And sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And at the end of the day, whether you've achieved the highest status or not, if something happens and we feel like we've got to make some adjustments, as a job requires us, you might be the one that gets axed. So that's the job. The job isn't going to provide you with longevity all the time. The job is the bird in the cage. I want you to remember that. It's the bird in the cage. You can work so hard to get to the top, to whichever direction you want to go, and maybe you'll get there. But whatever happens, at some point in time, that job is still in control. It tells you what to do, how to do it, and they'll present it all different kinds of ways. You know, the bird cages are cool, unique, they're round, they're triangular, but it's still limits that bird, no matter what you put in there. Bird seed buckets, swings to let them have a little fun, a cute door flapper, a little window. They are still in the cage. And at any given time, you, the person that's in charge of the bird, can decide, hey, I want to let you fly free or I want to lock you up. But you have a decision. It's your decision as the owner of the bird. So here's the second part about this is now I want to move over to the work. You know, man, I don't think many of us understand this. And sometimes it's going to take you hitting a flat plateau, a level ground. You fall smack on your face. You've given everything that you can to a job. You've dedicated yourself. You've grew your skills. You've grew that company. You've maximized your potential. You're multidimensional. You're the yes guy. You're the guy who's pumped. You're the guy who's excited. You're the guy who's stretching everything you got to create value. And sometimes that value is going to be pivotal to a company, and they're going to understand that there is no one else that can provide it like you can. But for those who don't have that ability, for those of us who won't have it as easy for an employer to see, it won't be enough. And so when it's not enough, here's what you have to focus on: your works. See, I work 8 to 5 every day. And when you go home and you sit in front of that television, you sell yourself short. When you go home and you get on the Twitter page and the Facebooks and you've got all the white noise working in the background, you're selling yourself short. Here's what you should be doing. You should have a job and you should always have work. And your work is your baby. It's your creation. It's what you're passionate about. It's what energizes you. It keeps you focused. It keeps you wanting and yearning for more. And that is the passion and the energy that you will need. See, that's the creation of life itself. Works. Okay, think about this. I'm going to go down this path, and if you're religious or not, you can probably still relate. But God tells us is that work is when we plant the seed. And I don't think any of us understand that. See, the job is that we go out and we water a spot and we expect the grass to get taller and greener and grow more. But work is when I go out and I lather the grass that's already there with some seed, and I get to scraping and raking those seeds into the ground, understanding that the best results are going to be when I dig underneath that dirt. See, now I've done the work, and when we reap what we sow. Okay, just keep that in mind. If you plant the seed, you get in return the grass, the greener grass. That's the work. What you're gifted at, what your craft is. Dr. Miles Monroe puts it in a really simple way. We cannot, in this day and age, give everything that we have and dedicate ourselves to the job. And we need to be focused on the work. The work is what brings us stability. It's what creates a new life for us, a new adventure. And it's scary. And in many cases, you're just thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. But why can't you put those same amount of hours that you're spending on these social media platforms into something that you really feel strongly about, craft it, get other people around you that have the same energy and passion, that have different skills that you can pull together and create something that's massive. Why can't you be that person? And when I relate this jobs versus works back to God, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you a verse. This is Genesis 1:28. And it says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful. You got to produce. You got to be productive and multiply. You have to reproduce. Okay? You can't just have one thing out there. You got to reproduce and replenish. Distribute. Distribute your gifts to the world. Make sure it's out there. Every outlet that you can, make sure that it's in front of people. It's somewhere that everybody knows. Touch somebody. Replenish the earth and subdue it. Controlling the market. Make sure you're the best. Make sure you're putting all the same effort into it that you would if you were spending time on making sure you're cute on social media, your clicks, your glams, all your friend statuses and the amount of people that follow you. Make sure you subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moves upon earth. So today, the commitment that you will have to make and what you will have to understand is that someone else is in control of your destiny when you go to a job. And if you commit yourself to the job only and you don't have any work, once that job is gone, once that job has gotten everything that you have to give out of you, yourself, and at the end of the day, you're at home feeling sad, feeling beaten, feeling unappreciated, feeling like I didn't make any progress today, feeling like you didn't get a pat on the back, feeling like you don't know if this is the place for you. You're stealing away from your work, and your work is what will pull you through when basically you hit rock bottom. It will be there for you. It is something that you can turn on, you can master it, you can focus on what's important, and you will get through it. So, jobs versus works. I hope you've been inspired in some little way to understand what you need to do differently, but it's really important that you don't let it hit you beforehand. Find your work, plant your seed today. Like, put it in the ground today. Your seed is whatever your gift is. The man upstairs gave it to you. You might think for 1 second that you don't have enough time, but you do, and you are committing to it, or you're not committing to it, to doing it and doing it well. Be inspired. Live every day like it's your last. You deserve every day. Thank you for your time. This is episode 4, job versus work. Create something in your life. Make it special. I've done 4 episodes now, and I'm asking you, the viewers, to share it, to listen to it and let it sink in and ask yourself, is this you? That's the philosophy. To take in what you hear and decide, does it relate to me? And how can I use it? That's a philosophy of life. You do that and you can build a bigger, better, brighter future. Leave me comments. Give me some feedback. Let me hear from you. It's very important that I understand the viewers. If this makes sense to you, if you have some tips, anything that you have, I'm open for Q&As. I love to hear from you. Thanks again for your time. Have a great day. Be successful at everything that you do.